Hello, this is Katya Baranova, and this is the SVETI Startup, the channel that I really want to start from the very beginning, the channel where I want to understand what startup is. Because let's be honest, 99% of people really don't know what startups actually do. A couple months ago, I visited a great exhibition in Silicon Valley. I was so surprised how many companies create such great things. So I was following all the booths there and asking like, hey guys, what you doing there? What you doing there? And I was so impressed with everything they're doing. But the thing is, nobody actually knows what they're doing, because for some reason, it's so difficult for startups to explain why this product, the one that they are actually developing, could help people. The second thing is, in all that exhibitions in IT sectors, oh my God, nobody explains something in very simple languages. So that's the idea of this channel. A little bit of self-irony. I'm blonde, I'm not stupid, but I'm not IT engineer. So I decided to create this channel about how many great things actually are developing around us. So I will try to do my best to explain it with normal language.
A startup is not just a business. A business sells something and earns profit right away. A startup is an experiment, usually with someone else's money, investors. The goal is not profit today, but growth, scale, and innovation. Here's the difference. If you open a bakery and sell bread, that's a business. If you create an app that delivers bread with drones in 15 minutes, that's a startup. Risky, but exciting. Investors don't put money in because they love bread or drones. They invest because they believe this idea might grow into the next big thing. Yes, many startups never reach success, but the ones that do can change the world. Take Airbnb. At first, it was literally renting out air mattresses in an apartment. Today, it's a global platform worth billions. Or Uber, two friends in San Francisco who just wanted a taxi with one button. And SpaceX, Elon Musk investing his last resources into rockets while many doubted him. All of them started as risky experiments and grew into global giants. Of course, not every startup becomes a success story. One well-known example, widely covered in the media, is Juicero. It was a company that raised over $100 million to create a high-tech juicing machine. But journalists discovered that juice packs could also be squeezed by hand, which sparked criticism and jokes online. According to reports in TechCrunch and other outlets, the company eventually shut down in 2017. Today, Juicero is often remembered as a symbol of how even big ideas with strong funding can face unexpected challenges. Why do we even need startups? Because they bring innovation to life. Apps we use daily, cars that drive themselves, rockets flying to Mars. Startups are about shaping the future, and understanding them means understanding the world we're moving into. And now I'd love to hear from you. Do you have a startup idea or a project you dream of building, but you're missing the funding to make it real? Share it in the comments. Write a short description of your idea, what problem it solves, and how people can reach you. Maybe even your email. Who knows? Among our viewers are entrepreneurs, experts, and maybe even investors looking for their next big opportunity. Your comment might be the spark that connects you with the right person.
And when you hear the word startup, you probably imagine a garage, two friends, a crazy idea. But who really created that story? Today, we're gonna travel back to Palo Alto, California, into a small garage where one of audio gadgets started, and how a Disney movie actually helped to start the startup era.
Of course, historians remind us there isn't a single first startup. People have always funded risky ventures, from sea expeditions to early trading companies. But the modern startup model, small capital, a mentor, a first customer, rapid growth, took shape in 1938 with Hewlett-Packard in Palo Alto. Bill Hewlett and Dave Packard were two young engineers from Stanford. With encouragement from their professor, Frederick Terman, often called the father of Silicon Valley, they decided to try something bold: start a company in a tiny rented garage. Their initial capital, just $538, and their first product, an electronic audio oscillator, model HP200A. Then came a dream opportunity: Walt Disney Studios. Preparing the sound system for the film Fantasia, Disney engineers asked Hewlett and Packard to modify their oscillator. The result was the HP200B. Disney bought 8 units. A massive break for two young founders. And here's a fun fact. The company name order, Hewlett-Packard, not Packard-Hewlett, was decided by a simple coin toss. That flip still echoes in the brand we know today as HP.
Think about the pattern. Working prototype, no money, just idea. Two huge, crazy fans of what they're doing, one mentor, and the very first customer. This is exactly what we today call their startup journey.
Professor Terman didn't stop there. He went on to build Stanford's industrial park, encouraging more engineers to launch companies. This culture of risk-taking and innovation became the DNA of Silicon Valley.
So was HP the very first startup? Probably not. But I like the story because it shows a good way how usually startups start from the very beginning. But remember, they had the very huge thing. They really helped to solve the problem. And this is why a lot of startups face so many difficulties and in most cases lose money, because they just think that their idea gonna solve the problem, but actually it's not. So I love stories like that. It shows how big ideas start small.
But why do around 90% of startups fail? This number appears in research from CB Insights, Harvard Business School, and other sources. But what exactly does it mean, and why does it happen so often? According to CB Insights, here are the top 5 reasons startups fail. 1. No market need. 2. Ran out of cash. 3. Wrong team. 4. Strong competition. 5. Pricing or marketing issues. And honestly, this all makes perfect sense. Let's look at a few stories widely covered by major media outlets. Theranos. The company promised a medical revolution, but as reported by the Wall Street Journal, the technology did not deliver. The result? Lawsuits and eventual shutdown. WeWork, once one of the world's hottest unicorns. But according to the New York Times and Financial Times, its business model was fragile. The IPO collapsed and the company had to restructure. These cases show that even billion-dollar startups can stumble. The single most common reason, again according to CB Insights, is simple. Nobody needs the product. Founders often build technology for the sake of technology instead of solving a real human problem. As investor Paul Graham from Y Combinator famously said, "Make something people want." The second most frequent reason is the team itself. As Harvard Business Review and Fast Company point out, even the best idea will collapse if the team is broken. Startups often shut down not because of the product, but because of people. And of course, money. Running out of cash is almost universal, but some startups raise new rounds while others don't. Competition is also brutal. According to PitchBook, sectors like delivery apps became oversaturated in recent years. Dozens of companies fighting for the same market, and most didn't survive. So why do startups fail? No market need, weak teams, running out of cash, fierce competition, poor marketing. But if you look deeper, it's often one core reason. Founders never solved a real problem. On this channel, we'll keep exploring startups that did find the right problems and how they changed the game. Subscribe to SVETI Startup for more inspiring and eye-opening stories from the startup world. But that's exactly why I explain startups and innovations in simple language, so everyone can understand how many amazing things are actually being created around us.
Не выключай, все, поехали. So, I love stories like that. So, I love stories like that. I love stories like that, so it shows how big ideas can... Сказала, еще раз, не выключай. Виключай.